So the first week of January went by and you didn't start your New Year's fitness resolution. Or you tried and gave up already, and you're asking yourself, why is this so difficult? And trust me, I've found myself there many times over. It's difficult to get started, and looking online for help is really hard, sometimes because of the volume of options. But when I was looking, I realized there's no real good starter information. They either generalize way too much or talk in circles trying to sell you their program. Well, what I aim to do in this video is give some basic advice that will help people of all body types and at all starting points get that resolution started and get the ball rolling. But who am I to speak on fitness? I am overweight, I have my own set of struggles I'm currently trying to overcome, but when I was in the Navy, I was a fitness instructor. I've taken a lot of classes, I've done a lot of research, and over the past 15 years, I've gained and lost about 80 pounds 3 times. So if there's one thing I know is how to start. Last disclaimer before I start, these are not to be the end-all of tips. This is just how to get started. Too many programs online throw people into a full lifestyle change without describing how to get there, and that's what I'm going to try to attempt to do today. Okay, so basically it's really easy, but a lot of things can slip and trick your brain. So the honest one-sentence answer to fitness is exercise, drink water, balanced diet. End of story. Let's call this the golden rule. However, each of those things is different for each person, and each of those means something different for each goal. I know this sounds kind of cliche, but fitness and wellness are a mindset shift, which I know in and of itself is a daunting task. So let me explain a few keys to success that if you pay in mind, they should help you make that shift. Again, by no means are these the 10 Commandments or any sort of guarantee. Unfortunately, there is no trick or quick way to get in shape. And trust me, I've tried. So let's tackle the big ones first, and then at the end I'll give some little haikus and limericks about fitness. Chapter 1, the mindset. While changing habits and starting a routine will obviously change your lifestyle, you aren't going to keep that new lifestyle unless your mind is also on board. And that's why 99% of New Year's resolutions fail. No idea if that statistic is real, but I mean, it's gotta be, right? Every time I've started a plan and failed, it's usually because I came on too strong. And in my impatience, I put so much unnecessary pressure on me. What you want to start out by doing is making small, gradual changes. But Atris, you say, well, duh. And yeah, that generic-ass advice. But here's the thing. Remember the golden rule from earlier. It's not as easy as just taking it slow. You'll still need to push yourself and create a path forward. Build the ladder that you will use to climb out of the hole. So the mindset is easy to get into, but the time it takes is usually what shakes people. All the mindset is progress is progress. You can't let yourself think, nothing's happening, I don't want to, it's not gonna work. Or the worst of them all, I didn't do enough. Actual weight loss and fitness is way more effective when approached slowly and carefully. Now, I'm not talking years, I mean weeks and months. One important thing to weight loss is actually building a little bit of muscle. Even if you're trying to tone down, that muscle will help you burn that weight. The process of building muscle requires a mindset comprised of a few things: lifting often, eating right, and maintaining a schedule. For muscle gain, you're going to want to have to push yourself in a different way compared to just weight loss. It starts with knowing your goals and setting up realistic benchmarks to meet along the way. Imagine right now, you're not exercising at all. An example of a realistic benchmark would be to start incorporating fitness into your schedule. An example of an unrealistic benchmark is I will work out X number of hours or X times of days per week. This is a bad way to start out. Let's say you go for the first day and maybe you go a little too hard on your shoulder that hasn't been used in a while, and now it's really sore, and oops, now you're going to take an extra day off to recover thinking, oh, I'll just pick it up the next day. But your schedule shifted, and now maybe you had plans on your non-gym days, and now it's been 3 days and you haven't gone. Well, if you set the unrealistic goal of going X days per week, you've already failed. And this could be a huge blow to motivation and can lead to thoughts like, screw it, this week is too hectic, I'll start over next week. And that cycle literally leads nowhere. But if you have a realistic goal of adding fitness to your schedule, look at you, congratulations, you've achieved that goal and you should feel good about it. The positive reinforcement can really help you keep moving forward. Keep positive and keep trying. Make that mindset, I'll do even better next time, instead of I failed this time. One point of failure for many people is the thought that the gym is a chore, that it's in addition to their day. Kind of like doing the dishes or folding laundry, it leads to the thought of, I could do this today, or... And instead, the gym, or whatever exercise you choose, should be a part of the day. Add it to the schedule. For me, I consider it a part of my work. If I don't go to the gym, my work day isn't over. If I get home and try to relax, I will not go back out to the gym. So either morning, noon, or night, it's got to be a part of your day and not something that seems like an add-on. Eventually, once you get into a routine, your psyche will change and you will get upset if you don't go. A lot of people feel this addiction to the gym and working out, and that's kind of where you want to be. A healthy addiction, of course. Back when I used to run a lot, which I hate, by the way, I used to give myself little goals, and it tricked me into feeling like I was really accomplishing something, even if it was a mile or something small. I'd say, hit that stop sign, then you could slow down, or get to that bush, then you could turn around. And slowly it got easier and easier, and my goals kept getting bigger and bigger. I want you to try to use that to retrain your brain with positive feedback and exercise. A good way to help incorporate fitness into your life is making sure the gym, or whichever fitness plan you use, is the right fit for you. Do you feel comfortable there? Is it easy to get to? Can you afford it? Do you have the right clothes? I won't go too deep into gym etiquette here, but it's basically 10 rules to say, be courteous. If you would like that, I can do a whole separate video on exercise alone. So in order to get started on your journey, you are going to need to set up a fitness routine. I recommend if you're trying to build muscle, unfortunately, you need to lose weight first. It is nearly impossible to build muscle at the same time that you're losing weight. It is possible, but really hard. So objective 1 is to build strength and stamina. Objective 2 is to reduce body fat percentage. And objective 3 is to then start building muscle. So how can we accomplish these? Well, with objective 1, building strength and stamina, you want to choose weights that are right for your level. You aren't strong. The end. No, but seriously, especially in the first stages, you do not need to impress anybody or overdo it. The trick is to find a weight that you can just make it to about 9 reps, and then you have to push to 10 or 11. A big mistake people make is pushing to failure every time, or going such a high weight that your form is all messed up. I was told once, and I will always say again, 10 correct reps are better than 100 incorrect ones. Form is very important to ensure that you're actually targeting the right muscle groups. If you're chicken winging or sticking your elbows out and flailing, you aren't really working the muscle the exercise is designed for. Now, form is important, but you can relax, you won't be tested. It's as long as you're doing the movements generally correct, then you should be fine. Some people are just a little over the top. Our goal in this first objective isn't to build muscle, though that will happen. It's to find where your limits are. So like the first few weeks at the gym, you should be kind of testing to see how much weight each thing should have. Some people keep a notepad and write this all down. You really shouldn't have to, though, at this stage. And then as you feel more comfortable with the weight, you can step it up in small increments. Even 5-pound difference can be a lot sometimes. A fun little game I like to play is if the weight I need isn't available, that's God telling me to go heavier. So with weights chosen and exercise happening, muscle will build and 2 things will happen. One we don't like, which is the initial bloating and weight gain, and the other is what we want, muscle gain. So muscle burns fat faster than the normal body processes do, but the muscles need to want to feed. So the way our muscles work is that when you lift, it tears the muscle microscopically all over the muscle, and then it uses the proteins that you digest to fill in those gaps and synthesize new muscle. It takes a lot of energy, and the more frequently you do this process, the more fuel it needs, thus pulling from your fat reserves. I know this seems like it shouldn't need to be said, but the least you work out, the slower your muscles will grow. The more you work out, the bigger they will get. It's pretty straightforward, I know, but it has to be said sometimes. Just remember for these first few weeks, you need to not worry about your weight being too low compared to the others in the gym. Never compare yourself to others in the gym. 1, they usually do not care. 2, they usually are not looking at you. And 3, you are there. That's half the battle won. There's respect there. Now this is the time for you to build up that strength and have more stamina for what's to come. And make sure you do avoid injury to joints, muscle, and other stuff in the future when you want to lift heavy. On stretching and injury, I do have 2 really cringy videos I made about stretching years ago. I could put that in another video if you guys want on the exercise video. But yeah. Stretch. It's important to learn a large variety of stretches and do them for each muscle group that you worked out every day. Or else you could risk overuse injury, or the so sore you don't want to go to the gym syndrome. Now on to objective 2, which is reducing body fat percentage. This part is not easy, so yes, muscle burns fat faster. But you know what really shreds weight? Cardio. I hate it. I've never been a fan, but in order to build up that stamina and lung capacity, we will need to incorporate some cardio. There's a few ways to achieve this, with some of the most common are walk, jogging, and running, bike, and elliptical or Stairmaster training machines, calisthenic exercises like jumping jacks. It doesn't have to be a lot at first, just about 10 minutes a day, either before or after your workout, and this is more just to get your body in that anabolic state so that your calories are actually processing. You can push yourself more if you feel like 10 minutes isn't becoming enough, either by increasing the speed or doing intervals of fast or slow or going uphill. But with those first 2 objectives, you should see weight loss pretty quickly, and keeping track of that progress is important as well. Not like in a journal or anything unless you want to, but weighing yourself regularly can weirdly be done wrong. Over-measuring or constantly measuring can lead to loss of motivation or negative reinforcement. Remember, we want positive reinforcement. So my recommendation is to only weigh yourself 1 day a week. Make it the same day every week, because our weight fluctuates up and down a lot and can make you feel like there's no progress at all, even if the average is technically lower than last week. Also, some people do measure themselves every week, but what I like to do is buy really cheap short-term goal shirts, like a t-shirt that's one size down. And then at the end of the week, I'll try it on and see how it feels. That's always a huge confidence boost as well. Generally, healthy and long-lasting weight loss should be about 1 to 2 pounds a week. 2 to 3 if you're really pushing it. So if you're dropping weight faster than that, you're either sick or something else might be wrong. You may get a big initial drop in weight because of diet change, but just ignore that because when it comes right back, you'll be disappointed. All right, we've made it on to objective 3, muscle growth. Muscle grows by lifting heavy and lifting often. By this point, you should be strong enough to start pushing yourself. This is where you can start experimenting with different combos of repetitions and sets and weights. There are many different workout types, high intensity interval training, CrossFit, functional fitness, high rep, low weight, high weight, low rep. But again, that's just the point at which we're finding a plan that works best for you. You can't only just go to the gym, then go back to being sedentary. Rest and recovery are important, but your time off shouldn't be 100% sitting, if that makes sense. Even just getting up and walking around a bit or doing some push-ups and sit-ups throughout the day. For example, I do a few push-ups and sit-ups every hour, but I do work from home, so if you can't manage that, that's okay. And speaking of rest, in almost every stage, your muscles and body are going to be sore. For muscle to grow and to prevent injury, you have to remember to take a day off. I recommend for starters 3 days on with breaks in between, Monday, Wednesday, Friday type deal. Then on Tuesday and Thursday, and the weekends, you can give your muscles a chance to heal and grow and relax. On your days off, even in the beginning, it's okay if you want to be active and do some cardio or a sport or go fursuiting. By rest and recovery, I'm talking about pumping iron. You got to make sure your lifting days are spread out. Eventually, you'll want to evolve past this and move on, and you'll be able to sandwich days, but just keep that in mind. Muscle groups are usually paired together when lifting. The focus muscle and then the accessory muscle should be paired together. For example, if you're doing biceps, you wouldn't want to also do calves. And I'm about to completely contradict myself here in a sec. I do shoulders and legs on the same day, but it's because of some structural reasons that I'm not going to get into right now. Some people split their days up like this: Monday, chest and triceps; Wednesday, shoulders and legs; Friday, back and biceps, and then you can do core workouts in between those or tagged on to the end. And some other people do Monday, all pushing muscles; Wednesday, legs alone; and then Friday, all pulling muscles. Usually legs are left for the middle of the week because you don't really feel the burn until about a day after, and then you get the weekend to recover. So it's really just about finding a program that fits how you flow, and I'll give a couple examples otherwise in another video. A quick note: try to have some soft gym time goals, like I will spend 1 hour in the gym. But if your workout is done and you feel like you've gotten a good workout in and it's only been 45 minutes, don't force yourself to stay and do more. You did it. Workouts, especially early on, aren't about length, it's about quality. Ab and core workouts are good to either be a few added on to the end of each workout or on the non-lifting days. For core strengthening, there is an insane amount of workouts and options, from resistance training to functional fitness to like Pilates and yoga, but abs are 100% diet. They say biceps are made in the gyms, but abs are made in the kitchen. So let's talk about diet. Oh boy, nutrition is weird, and advice online is really hard to understand. People try to generalize, but realistically, everybody's body is very different and needs a different diet to achieve those goals. Like, for example, you may hear calorie deficit, but in some circumstances, that may make you gain weight. There's gimmick diets or fad diets like keto. There's also diets like intermittent fasting, which is what I've done and had a lot of success with. And then there's supplements and weight loss treatments like fat burners and pills, etc. I'm considering making a separate video about diet, supplements, and nutrition as well. If you'd like to see that, let me know. But I'm going to be honest here. I used to take a lot of supplements, but I took them alongside being really fit and being really active. So of course they're going to make me lose weight because I'm already losing weight. So I recommend avoiding supplements outside of protein and maybe pre-workout, depending on how your body likes that. There's different ways to approach dieting, but the first thing we should do is explain why your current diet isn't working. So while being in a calorie deficit or carb deficit will technically force the body to start using fat as fuel, it takes a long time for that to happen, and instead it will just wait because it knows it'll be fed again. You need to start looking at your body as a separate being that you're taking care of. A good analogy that has been used a lot is the campfire analogy. Your metabolism works much like a campfire. If the fire is fed and stoked often, it will continue to burn. If it is left to burn with no fuel and rarely stoked, it will ember and even go out, but it won't burn. So transversely, if you let the flame die and then dump a huge log on top, it'll just stomp out the fire. So eating the right thing at the right time is important, but I promise it's not as hard as it sounds. If you're already generally eating pretty healthy, you may not be eating enough. Now, I'm not a dietitian, so I'm not going to pretend to give you a calorie limit for the day or how much you can and can't eat and when, but I can guide you to some of the good tools that you could use to figure that stuff out. There's an app and a website ran by Under Armour called MyFitnessPal. It's a great tool to establish your goals, get an idea of what's it going to take to reach those dietary goals. They can track your weight and activity, and then you input all of the food you eat a day and it will tell you what you need more of or what you need less of. You don't need to use it forever, just long enough to get you to a point where you're eating right. Then once you know what kind of stuff you need, you can start experimenting and changing things up. My biggest issue was drinking alcohol. Drinking alcohol halts most digestion, muscle synthesis, and recovery, so it's not really good to drink if you're planning on actually losing weight. Healthy consumption is fine, like on weekends or a little bit in the evening, but I would avoid it. I'm working on that too. The diet plan I like to use is intermittent fasting, which in short is a plan that ignores the campfire analogy, and if you fast for long enough, your body is like, all right, this dude ain't eating, let's start using the reserves. And then you can eat for a few hours until the fasting period starts again. It works really well for me, and it's favorite for many because they could either skip breakfast or dinner and it works pretty well, and it's sustainable for a long period of time. People who say, oh, just cut out sugar or eat less calories, then you burn, are ignoring people like me who don't eat any sugar and barely get enough calories in a day, and yet still I am thick. It's about finding out what works for you, making small changes, having easy to achieve goals, and they don't need to be perfect. You can still enjoy your life and have this new fitness mindset. But again, the generic answer for a perfect weightlifter's diet is chicken, rice, and broccoli. But that gets old so fast, but it does work really well. You should treat yourself every once in a while for a few reasons. It's good for your psyche to enjoy stuff. And also it tells your body, don't worry, you will be treated again soon, and convinces you to keep going for a little bit longer. There is a reason they call it training. Okay, I think I'm running out of entry-level things to talk about, so the TLDR is baby steps, take your time, plan things out, positive reinforcement, shift your lifestyle by shifting your mindset, exercise, eat healthy, drink water, try to enjoy it. I think I used all my little anecdotes and ancient sayings in the body of this, so I won't bother you with them here, but if there's something I didn't explain right or you do have future questions, definitely leave them down below. I will be putting out 2 more videos, one on exercise itself, and then the other one on diet nutrition. It's not an easy road, and there will be times you want to quit, but I promise if you just stick with it, you will see the results. For example, if you're losing weight at the correct rate, your body shape won't change right away. You may be getting smaller, but in the mirror, you will appear the same to yourself. But just trust that the process is working and continue to measure yourself. And don't forget, this isn't the plan that you should be following forever. I want you to continue to try and grow, push it further, and see how far your limits can go. This is just the stepping stones in the beginning, the first couple weeks, maybe even the first couple months, just to get you out of the house and get your resolution rolling. But other than that, that is all I have. I will be putting out those 2 other videos as soon as possible. Excuse my voice, I've been kind of sick for the past 3 weeks. But if not then, I will see you in the gym.